Talking to yourself. Just hearing those words might make someone smile. Someone else might think it's something only lonely or crazy people do. But let me tell you something. Talking to yourself is one of the most powerful and transformative things you can do in your life. In a world that constantly pushes you to speak to everyone else, we forget how important it is to actually listen to our own inner voice, not the voice that judges you, not the one that pressures you, but the one that knows the truth, the one that understands what you're really feeling even when you can't explain it to anyone else. Because the truth is, everyone talks to themselves. Some do it silently, some out loud. Some do it while walking, some while writing, some while staring into space. And no, it's not madness. It's not weakness. It's clarity. It's awareness. It's a deep connection to who you are. Think about all those moments when you felt confused, stuck, overwhelmed. In those moments, you probably didn't need advice from someone else. You needed you. To check in with yourself, to ask a question, to find your own answer, to make sense of what was going on inside. Badukhla, akhaba la shibay, akhaba la shibay min hayla sa, akhaba la shibay, akhaba la shibay, akhaba la shibala shibay, akhaba la shibay, akhaba la shibay masail min makhlash. We're taught how to speak well to others, but never how to speak well to ourselves. So our inner dialogue often becomes a battlefield, a constant stream of self-criticism, sharp words, and you're not good enough. But today, we start something different. A journey to discover how talking to yourself can become your greatest strength. I'll show you why it's not just helpful, it's essential. We'll explore how the way you speak to yourself can change how you live, how you choose, and how you feel. And step by step, you'll come to realize that the quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of your inner conversations. Because you can have 1,000 people around you, but if the voice inside is tearing you down, no amount of applause will save you. And on the other hand, you can be completely alone, but if the voice inside lifts you up, you'll never be missing anything. Talking to yourself isn't just thinking. It's not just having thoughts. It's something more. It's a conscious act, a real conversation with your own mind. It's like pulling up a chair, sitting across from yourself, and finally asking, "How are you, really?" We all talk to ourselves, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes it's a constant monologue, judgments, doubts, worries running in circles. Other times, it's a deeper dialogue. We ask questions, we answer, we try to find clarity. But rarely do we stop and actually notice what kind of voice we have inside. Is it a kind voice or a harsh judge? Does it lift you up or shut you down? Does it help you understand yourself or leave you even more confused? Here's the thing. The way we speak to ourselves shapes the reality we live in. The words you use on the inside become the choices you make on the outside. The story you tell yourself about what's happening shapes the way you experience it. Let me give you a simple example. There's a big difference between telling yourself, "I'll never make it," and saying, "This is hard, but I'm going to try." The situation doesn't change, but your brain, your body, your emotions, they'll all respond in completely different ways. And it's not just theory, it's everyday life. The words you repeat to yourself become beliefs, and those beliefs, without you even realizing it, become your identity. Sometimes, without meaning to, we use harsh, cutting words. We say things to ourselves we would never say to someone we love. We punish ourselves for every mistake. We tear ourselves down for every hesitation, and we do it silently, when no one's looking, in the most vulnerable place there is, our own mind. But here's the good news. That voice? You can change it. You can train it. You can transform it from enemy to ally. And it all starts with one simple thing: paying closer attention to it. Because inner dialogue doesn't just come from what you experience. It comes from how you interpret what you experience. And that interpretation is something you can shift. Talking to yourself isn't just a mental exercise. It's an act of care. It's sitting down with yourself and, for once, not running away. Not silencing yourself with distractions, with outside noise, with made-up urgency. It's the moment you pause and finally listen. Really listen, deeply. Because maybe the voice you've been searching for all along doesn't come from outside. It's already inside you, and it's just waiting for you to answer back. Talking to yourself isn't just a mindful practice. It's a resource, a compass. It's a tool you carry with you at all times, and yet, most of the time, you don't even realize it's there. But once you learn how to talk to yourself in the right way, things begin to shift, not just inside, but outside too. And you don't need complicated rituals or hours of silence. Sometimes all it takes is one honest sentence, one real question, one quiet moment that belongs to you. The first major benefit is clarity. Bodegas. In the middle of a noisy day, with thoughts piling up and emotions pulling you in different directions, talking to yourself helps you sort things out. It's like clearing off a messy desk and finally putting each paper where it belongs. When you pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? You create space between you and the noise, and in that space, you're no longer swept away. You're back at the wheel. And even if you don't know exactly where you're going, at least you know you're not drifting anymore. The second powerful benefit is emotional balance. Because most of the time, you don't need someone else to fix the problem. You just need to feel understood. And really, who better than you to offer that? You can learn to calm yourself down, to reassure yourself, to speak to yourself with kindness. Ko better shahizash, ko better shachash, hizak, ko better shachash. You can become the voice you've been missing. Ko better shachash, the one that says, it's okay, breathe. You're not broken, this is just a hard moment. And the more you do it, the more that voice becomes familiar. Idenaf. It becomes your safe space, your anchor. Another benefit, one people often overlook, is decision-making. When you talk to yourself, your intentions get clearer. Your thoughts line up. You hear them out loud. And often, from that clarity comes the answer. Have you ever taken a walk while talking to yourself? Ever written out everything on your mind and suddenly thought, there it is. Now I know what to do. That's the power of inner dialogue. It won't always give you the perfect solution, but it'll bring you one step closer to your truth. And there's one more benefit, maybe the most important. You get to know yourself. You discover parts of you that were buried, quiet, or waiting. Because in the moments when you speak honestly with yourself, no filters, no roles, no masks, you see who you are when no one's watching. And that's when something real begins to form. Not a character, not a performance, but an actual relationship with yourself. Talking to yourself isn't a sign of confusion. It's an act of connection, and every inner conversation you have is one more step back home, back to that place inside you where, finally, you feel safe. By now, maybe it's starting to click. Talking to yourself isn't just normal. It's incredibly helpful. But here's the key detail. How you do it changes everything. Because inner dialogue can be a balm, or it can turn into poison. And it all depends on the way you speak to yourself. How many times have you told yourself things like, you're such a mess. You'll never make it. How could you screw this up again? We do it without even thinking. Sometimes we're harder on ourselves than we'd ever be with a total stranger. But every word you say to yourself leaves a mark. Because your brain doesn't actually know the difference between what you say to others and what you say to yourself. It absorbs it, records it, believes it. That's why the first step is to change your tone, to stop being your harshest critic, and start speaking to yourself with more compassion. The way you'd talk to a friend who's hurting. Hoey. The way you'd comfort a child who's scared. Hoey. This isn't about lying to yourself or forcing fake positivity. Hoey. It's about being honest without being cruel. Saying things like, yeah, you messed up, but you can try again. Or, today's rough, but you're not alone. I'm here with you. And then, there are the questions. Because talking to yourself isn't just repeating the same thoughts. Gua. It's also about asking yourself real, open questions. Gua. Not ones that shame you, like, what's wrong with you? But questions that invite understanding, like, what are you really searching for right now? Where's this fear coming from? What would help you feel just a little better right now? These questions don't always come with instant answers, but they open doors. They create space. They help you stay present with yourself, instead of running away. And yes, there are actual techniques you can use. Because you can learn to speak to yourself more effectively. Moonway is reflective writing. Cass. Cried way. They cried way. Sit down with a notebook and write out what you're holding inside. Even if it's messy, even if it doesn't make sense. Just write, and you'll often find more clarity than you expected. Mahdi, another way. Talk out loud. Yes, really, close the door. Be alone. And talk to yourself like you're your own best friend. It feels strange at first, but eventually it becomes natural. And in that voice, your voice, you'll often find the answers you've been looking for. You can also use intentional affirmations. Not the fluffy one-size-fits-all stuff you scroll past online, but simple, grounded words that come from you. Things like, today I choose to be patient with myself. Today I treat myself with respect, even if things don't go how I want. Just a few words, but when said at the right moment, they shift the energy of your whole day. In the end, talking to yourself the right way means stopping the silent damage and learning to support yourself with awareness and care. It means becoming the voice you didn't always have, but now, finally, get to build. Talking to yourself is helpful. It's powerful. But it can also be dangerous if you don't do it the right way, because inner dialogue isn't always supportive. In fact, some of our deepest insecurities, our fears, our blocks, start there. They come from things we've told ourselves so many times that we've started to believe they're true. That's why it's so important to recognize the most common mistakes, because you can't change what you don't see. More Twine. The first mistake is confusing inner dialogue with mental noise. Thinking isn't the same as talking to yourself. When your mind keeps looping the same thoughts, replaying the same scenes, overanalyzing everything, that's not a conversation. That's a spiral. And the longer you stay in it, the more lost you feel. Bover and Sale. Talking to yourself means pausing. Bover and Sale, it means listening on purpose. It means guiding your thoughts, not getting swept away by them. The second mistake is using inner dialogue only to judge yourself. A lot of people only talk to themselves to beat themselves up. You're not good enough. You messed up again. See, I knew it. But that's not self-talk. That's self-harm, done quietly, from the inside out. And the more you treat yourself like that, the more your confidence disappears. Not because you're weak, but because no one can grow under constant attack. Not even from themselves. The third mistake is not really listening. Talking to yourself isn't just about what you say. It's also about what you allow yourself to feel. Sometimes we talk and talk and talk, just to avoid listening. We fill the space with words to keep the pain out, to avoid what's uncomfortable. But real inner dialogue begins the moment you stop running. When you allow yourself to say, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I'm hurting. Yes, I feel lost. Not so you can stay stuck there, but so you can move through it. Understand it. Heal from it. And finally, one more mistake. Expecting instant answers. Sometimes you'll talk to yourself, and nothing will happen. Sometimes you'll ask a question, and no answer will come. That's okay. That's not the point. The point is to build a relationship with yourself. And like any real relationship, it takes time, consistency, presence, bila. The goal isn't to always have the perfect words. The goal is to show up, to not abandon yourself, to not silence your own voice, to stay. Because once you learn to stop running from yourself, you'll realize no one can ever truly make you feel alone again. Talking to yourself isn't just a mental exercise. It's not just a technique to feel better. It's much more than that. It's a path, a process, a revolutionary act that, if done with consistency and honesty, can completely transform who you are. Because day after day, word after word, the voice you speak to yourself with becomes the person you become. If you learn to speak to yourself with respect, you begin to act with respect. If you learn to encourage yourself, you start to truly believe in yourself. If you learn to listen to yourself, you begin to trust. And trusting yourself, that is the root of every kind of real freedom. At that point, something inside you shifts for good. You no longer crave constant approval. You don't fall apart after a single mistake. You don't break under someone's judgment. Because now, inside you, you've built a voice that supports you. Q. And that voice? It's not your parents' Q. It's not society's. Shore's built a voice to buck. It's not based on anyone's expectations. Q. Manine. Met stay stick. Voice to build a voice. Q. Buck. Way hey jors. Buck. Authentic. Grown. QA. Hey jors. QA steady. When you start speaking to yourself this way, something beautiful happens. You become your own mentor. Not your judge. Not your enemy. Not your inner critic, but someone who guides you, who understands you, who tells you the truth without wounding you. And no, that doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means that even when it's hard, you'll be there for yourself. Every word you speak to yourself today is a brick in the home you'll live in tomorrow. And you get to choose. Do you want to build a place of peace or a battleground? Do you want to live in companionship with yourself or spend a lifetime at war within? Because here's the truth. You're never truly alone. If you know how to speak to yourself with care, if you know how to stay with yourself, even in silence, even when the world is loud, mameng bizenjon kaline, bushus, even when no one else understands you, bushus. Inner dialogue isn't just a skill to develop, bushus, it's a relationship to grow, bizenjon kaline, mameng dizenjon, some bushus bizenjon. It's a relationship to grow, mameng dizenjon, and like all real relationships, it takes listening, presence, time. But once you begin, once you truly start speaking to yourself with respect, with care, with courage, you're no longer the same person, because finally, you're on your own side. If you've made it this far, it means you chose to pause, to listen, to look within, even if just for a moment. And that choice, it matters. In a world that constantly pushes us to distract ourselves, to talk to everyone except ourselves, taking time to hear your own inner voice, that's an act of courage. Now you know, talking to yourself isn't weakness. It's not confusion. It's not madness. It's strength. It's clarity. It's coming home to yourself. Because the truth is, no one will walk with you for your entire life, except you. So isn't it worth becoming good company? You can be your own judge, or your ally. You can hurt yourself, or hold yourself up. You can ignore your voice, or finally start listening. The way you speak to yourself changes everything. It changes how you feel. It changes how you choose. It changes how you live. The message I want to leave you with is simple, but deep. Learn to listen to yourself before you go searching for answers outside, because the quality of your life, more than anything else, will depend on the quality of your inner conversations. And remember this, when the voice inside you is calm, honest, and steady, it doesn't matter how loud the world around you gets.